Hey everybody, Jen from Abby's Attic here. So I have this repair that a customer brought in. It's a synthetic, probably an acetate coat, and as you can see, the fabric has pulled away from the seam a little bit. This is a lined coat, so it's going to be really hard to take this apart, put it back together, and fix this little guy. So I wanted to show you a quick little way to do this. Because this is a synthetic fiber, it will actually melt. So to prevent this from fraying any further, and you can see I've done it a little bit here, I'm actually going to melt this fray so it doesn't propagate. And I'm just going to do that real carefully, just kind of wafting the flame over it, and you can see it just sort of scooshes in. I'm not going to do it too close to the fray because I don't want it to burn the rest of the jacket. But here's a little spot here as well. Get that in there. Maybe right here. Okay, so that's been treated. This is a tailor's ham, or our version of a tailor's ham. And it's just like a pillow, but it's got some fabric scraps in it to make it kind of hard. But you can shape this thing to any position you want. It's a curve, it's a little mound, so it does make things a lot easier when you have an odd shape to work with. But it also works as a good foundation to do repairs like this. In order to make this look really smooth and seamless, what I'm going to have to do is mimic the rest of the seam without actually taking this apart. I'm going to tuck this under, trying to line it up with that seam, and then I'm just going to stab my pins right through this little folded edge. Normally you would pin, up and through and have two, an insertion and an exit point for each pinning that you do, but for this, not necessary. I'm just going to tuck that in just a little bit. There we go. Tack it down. There we go. So that looks pretty seamless. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and thread my needle. The eye is really big, but the needle itself is pretty skinny. I want to leave myself a little tail. And now I am going to show you guys a quick little knot trick. I've shown this a ton of times before, but here we are again. It already has a knot on it, but I'm going to demonstrate it anyway. So you're going to take the end of the thread where you want the knot to be and your needle and crisscross them and pinch it with your forefinger. And then on the other side of this tail, not this side, but the other side. I don't know why it works this way and not the other way, but trust me, you don't want to do this side. Take the other side of the tail, wrap that around your needle a couple, 3 times. Squish that coil in between your fingers, pull it through, and boom, you have a knot. The ladder stitch is called that because when you're done with your stitching, all that's left that's visible is stitches that go across your seam and they look like rungs of a ladder. So let me go ahead and, now I've gone into this other flaw so that I could hide that knot. And now I'm going to go and start my ladder stitch. So if you think about this seam as a mouth, this would be the top lip, this would be the bottom lip, and then right here at the seam, that's the opening of the mouth. So keep that in mind as I walk you through this ladder stitch. So I'm going to go, let's see, which side of the mouth am I on? It looks like I'm coming out the top lip. So I'm going to go down through the bottom lip, and through the lip and pull a stitch. And then I'm going to go through the top lip just at the edge of the lip, not through the nose, pull a stitch. Now at this point I can probably take that out. And I'm just going to carry on like that, so watch the magic unfold before you. Okay, so now we're at the last part of the fix that needs to be done. And if I stopped here, it would be a little bit awkward because that's the end, right? And it would give us sort of a jagged repair. So I'm going to continue for a few more stitches down the part of the garment that's actually still good, and that will blend the repair right in. Okay, now that I've gotten a few stitches further, I'm going to separate the seam just a little bit and work my needle through the seam. And then I'm going to wrap my thread around that existing stitch. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right there. That's the actual manufacturer's stitch. And I'm going to take the needle through my loop, draw it tight, do it once more for security. Boom, done. Now that was quick and dirty, but the good news is it's repaired. It will prevent fray from happening a bunch. And I'm not really super concerned about this part here because there's a belt that actually goes through there. So it's going to cover up a bunch of these little wobbly lines here. And then I will do the same thing with this part of the repair. You've learned a few tricks today. Ladder stitching. You can prevent fray by actually firing the edges of your fabric so that they don't fray anymore. Be careful though if you're working with a natural fiber. Natural fibers do not melt, they will only burn. So do a little test first before you give this technique a go. And yeah, but if it's synthetic it will melt just fine. Just be careful with open flames. We don't want to fire today. Maybe tomorrow, but not today. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you around. Thanks for watching.